Kia ora, no mai, haere mai, or no mai, hoki mai, if you are returning and coming back to listen to more episodes. Welcome back to the conversations that we're going to have here. I am Gail Moana-Johnson, if you are new around here. So, yeah, welcome. I really want to have a conversation this week around this word called perfection. I know myself. I have tried to live up to certain expectations because of the way I perceive perfection. Yeah. I know that I have done, said, or converted myself into X, Y, and Z because my perception of perfection was definitely based off of other people's perceptions of perfection. And I just really want to nip this right now because perfection is quite literally impossible, right? Perfection is such a subjective word. Most things are in life, most things are subjective. However, perfection is one of them, right? And it is really impossible to live up to it because we all see it differently. So let's jump in. Let's jump in. You might, I don't know, whoever you follow online, whoever is your role model, whoever it is that you look at, who looks like they have their life perfectly together, yeah, they probably cried in the shower this morning, right? I know most of you who listen, follow me online, and I've even had messages that have come out who have said to me, oh my gosh, you've just got it together, XYZ, and all the things. I'm going to tell you right now, I cry most days. I literally cry most days these days, especially on my sober buzz, especially on my healing journey. But that's not today's conversation. But I'm going to tell you right now, life is messy, BTS. Life is messy behind the scenes. Life is messy. And you definitely don't have to have it all together to make moves. Right? I definitely don't have it all together, but I still make big moves. So today we're going to smash that myth right on the head because you do not have to be perfect before you can change your life, before you can do anything, before you can chase your dreams or call yourself a leader. You do not have to be perfect. You do, though, have to show up. But perfection definitely is a loss of societal worldviews, right? Society or the communities that we live in, they define what perfection should look like. And I'm doing this because I could do a whole other episode on the power of words, our language, and how we speak. However, a lot of what we see on the outside or how we should or shouldn't show up, we take on that perception, right? We take on what we should and shouldn't do, even if we can feel that we do or don't want to do that thing. Our society, our social media, oh my gosh, schools, clubs, whatever, wherever you are. That is the origin of where we perceive what life should look like, including our family, right? Including our whānau or cultural expectations. And this also ties into that intergenerational pressure that could be passed down, right? Where maybe there's a doctor of the family, which is hugely ridiculous and out of my realm and my sphere because my parents were addicts. But let me just put this to you, right? Maybe there was a doctor of the family, right? And before him, they were a doctor of the family. So under him, he wants one of his children to be a family. And I'm generalizing gender here, but you know what I'm saying, right? Sometimes there is this intergenerational or this invisible expectation that our family put onto us, even if it isn't on purpose. Even at school, right? Even in corporate spaces, we have all these expectations on how we should or shouldn't show up in those places, which then we start to take on and create into our identities, right? We start becoming what we perceive around us. And it shows up every single day in our lives, right? It shows up every single day in our lives. We delay starting doing something because we're not ready, which FYI, being ready is not a ceiling, okay? Being ready is not a ceiling, being ready is a choice. Or we will start over preparing, or we will avoid opportunities based off of that fear of being judged or based off that fear of being abandoned or frowned upon. Yeah. And I know this because I lived this, right? I did not do a lot of things because I had this perceived perception of what I should and shouldn't be doing. And since I was a little girl, right? Since I was a little girl, but the story I want to share is more around me and my mum life, right? I became a mum so young. So if you didn't know me, you know, I was 15 going on 16 when I had my eldest child, and I felt like I had to be perfect. I felt like I had to prove myself. I felt like I needed to, or I should show up in this way and this way and this way so that people wouldn't judge me, people would like me, I would feel good enough. But even when I wore all those masks, even when I tried to be perfect, even when I did all the shoulds or shouldn't, I still didn't feel good enough. I still didn't feel good enough. And again, perfection is a perception, right? And the reason why I wasn't feeling good enough is because I wasn't actually allowed to be me. When we are allowed to be ourselves, when we are allowed to be real, authentic and show up as ourselves, that is actually when we start feeling lighter and freer. But because of these societal norms that are created on how we should and shouldn't show up, are created, we start falling into those boxes. We start conforming. We start then judging others. We start judging ourselves. We do all these things that on the inside, we already know that that's not how we want to show up. I went through this phase. I can still go through these phases of life, these seasons of life. And it's so dangerous because perfection is actually procrastination in disguise. If we are telling ourselves we don't feel ready, if we are telling ourselves we aren't smart enough, if we're telling ourselves we aren't good enough, we start procrastinating, right? Because we feel like we can't hit this title perfection because of XYZ. And then we will actually start procrastinating the things we do want to do, right? It creates this constant self comparison to others. We will see someone else doing something and we'll be like, oh, I wish I could do that. Or we even some jealous and envy might come in like, oh my gosh, why do they get to do that? Right? We'll start comparing, and self-comparison or comparison is the thief of joy. And we also start working ourselves into burnout. Perfection, when we are striving to be perfect, quotation marks, if you're listening to this on a podcast, but when we are striving to that perfection, we are ultimately creating our own suffering and ultimately hitting burnout. And I know this firsthand too. I crashed and burned so many times because I had those masks on and I was trying to be and do everything for everyone else, but I wasn't doing what I actually wanted to do. I wasn't honoring who I was as a person. I wasn't honoring the actions I actually wanted to take. I was taking steps and taking actions based on others' perceptions on how I should show up. And I know a lot of you will be relating. I know a lot of you will be relating to this conversation because it's so easy to fall into. Being perfect is actually such an impossible standard, and chasing it actually keeps us small. And there are so many hidden costs of waiting to be ready, quotation marks. Again, if you're listening to this on a podcast, there are hidden costs if you are waiting to be ready because you feel like you're not perfect enough, you feel like you're not good enough. We start missing those opportunities. There's an emotional cost to it as well. We start experiencing things like anxiety, overthinking, low self-worth, depression, overwhelm, right? Because there's actually a cost to trying to keep up appearances. There's full on burnout and exhaustion trying to keep these masks on and making ourselves look like we've got our shit together. I'm going to tell you right now, we do not have to have our shit together in order to show up. Life is messy. Life is messy. Without the mess, without the breakdowns, without shit hitting the fan, How are we supposed to grow and progress, right? Mess and progress coexist. Example, young mum, right? No idea what I was doing, although I don't think any parent really knows what they sign up for when they have a child. But again, at the beginning, first I had all these masks on, I was striving to be perfect. I was like doing other things that didn't actually matter to me, just showing up because I felt like I should. And it wasn't until I started dabbling in my social work degree realm, we did a lot of reflecting, and then I started my mahi and I went on to get my life coaching and all the things. But moving through all of that was messy. It was so messy. But I also, in hindsight, got so many learnings. I went through court, family court. I went through the system. I lost a lot of people I loved, including my dad. I was an alcoholic. I got sober. Like all of these huge pivotal moments in my life, they were messy as fuck. So messy, especially when I lost my dad. I spiraled. I started drinking again, doing dumb shit, doing all the things. Mess. But without having that spiral and hitting rock bottom, I wouldn't have been able to also get the growth that I needed from that. The growth to learn how to navigate grief when it happens, right? Life is messy. Let it be messy. Start the damn thing. Do the damn things that you want to do. And I want us to replace that word perfect. Replace that word perfect. It's not about hitting that. It's about doing things that are aligned or intentional. Because a lot of us here weren't put here to do the same things. We all strive and thrive off of doing really different things because we all value different things. We all work in different areas. We all have different goals, dreams, and aspirations in life. There is no pitch perfect anything because we all want something different. Yeah. So smash that word perfection or perfect out of your vocabulary and start using words like, okay, I'm going to do this because it actually feels aligned, right? I'm going to do this with intention. We're not striving for things anymore to be perfect. We're striving for things now to be aligned with who we are and the lives that we want to live. And clarity actually comes after we take action, not before. No amount of thinking about doing things that we want to do, no amount of overthinking, overwhelm, and trying to think our way out of it is going to get us to where we want to be. True clarity comes after the action that we take. Okay, so I got 3 permission slips that I want you all to take with you on this little journey. This conversation was very short, I know, but I could go on and on and on. But I got heaps of things that I want to talk about. So we're going to just smash them out one by one first. But 3 permission slips, okay? Start doing the things before you feel ready. Remember, ready is a choice. You get to choose and decide when you want to start and do the thing that you want to do. Yeah? Show the messy middle, not just that glossy end. The messy middle is where we get all our learnings. The messy middle is where we grow. The messy middle is where we feel, right? Show the messy middle. And then the last permission slip, progress over perfection every single time. Progress over perfection. Progress is what will move the needle toward the thing that you actually want to do in life. Anyways, perfection, impossible standard for us to even live up to. It's a ridiculous perception that we need to nip right out. And it's harmful. This perfection, when we strive to perfection, it is so harmful. It causes anxiety, overwhelm, burnout, all the things. And we miss so many opportunities when we are striving for perfection as opposed to progress, right? Messy action gets shit done. Messy action helps us heal and grow. Messy action moves the dial towards the life that we want to live and the life that we want to create, yeah? So I have a little bit of a question that I want to pose to you so that you can get your thinking juices going. What is one thing that you have delayed because you are waiting to be ready. Yeah. Like if you stopped waiting for perfect, what is the first thing that you'd actually do? Anyways, thanks for sitting with me today and having this conversation about perfection and just wanting to like smash that word out of the dictionary, okay? We are all different, right? Again, we all want different things. We all live very different lives. We all value just really different things. So we need to smash this word out of the park because it is very hard for us to attain perfection when it means something totally different to us. It is very hard to create the life that we want when we're putting on all these masks because we are doing things that people tell us we should or shouldn't do. We need to smash this word because ain't no amount of doing things or pretending who you are is going to get you to where you want to be, right? Being ourselves, being real, being raw, being messy is going to help you create the most fulfilling life that you could ever want over anything else. And I stand on that. But anyways, again, ngā mihi nui kia koutou. Thank you for sitting here with me and having this conversation. If you think anyone else might benefit from this conversation or something has hit you hard, like please share it. Please tag me. Please let me know. Heck, email me if you like or leave a comment on this podcast or YouTube. And if you haven't already, follow along. Come join these conversations. I am going to fingers crossed to get these podcasts out every fortnight. But again, messy action, and I'm okay if I don't hit the mark with that one. But every fortnight is the aim of the game to get these podcast conversations out and really talk about shit that matters. Yeah, really start having these conversations so that we get to go deeper, we get to remember who we are, and we get to start creating the identities and the lives that we actually want to live in. So stay tuned, and I look forward to having another conversation with you soon. Ka kite.